Hello, my name is Farah.
I'm Vanessa,
I'm Susie.
and today we're going to be talking about the philosophy of science, scientific realism, and anti-realism, and different types of religious experiences, and how we can categorize those experiences. Also, we're going to talk about initiative dualism and substance dualism, and then scientific realism is the view that the universe is described by science is real regardless of how it's interpreted, and that allows us to construct theories providing knowledge of observable entities and forces and processes that we see.
And so going back to the philosophy of science, the use and value of science together with all its presumptions, tenets, and implications are all topics covered by science philosophy. This field occasionally crosses over with metaphysics and epistemology, specifically when it questions whether the study of truth can be derived from empirical findings. There is scientific realism, which is what scientists tell us is very real, and realists tend to be optimistic, anti-realists do not. Scientific realism is the view that well-confirmed scientific theories are approximately true. The entities they postulate do not exist, and we have good reasons to believe their main tenets. Realists often add that given the spectacular, predictive, and theoretical success of our best scientific theories, it would be miraculous were they not to be approximately correct. Gravity is an example of where scientific realists and anti-realists go in. Scientific realists believe that gravity exists, but scientific anti-realists would say that we can't see gravity, we can only see the effects of it. Initiative dualism, which is the hard problem of conscientiousness. No matter how much we see, there is always something left unexplained. There's always something beyond the scientific explanation. And substance dualism is mind and body. And then religion and science is compatible, but they can coexist. Scientific explanations should not rule out religious beliefs.
So I'm going to be citing Mark Webb's paper called Religious Experience. When I was reading the second article for this module, I could relate a lot to Richie's experience with that runner's high and feeling connected to the world. And so I wanted to do a bit of research into the different types of religious experiences, because I know those kinds of experiences are different from what I hear my mom talking about when she talks about why she became a Catholic. So Mark Webb categorizes it into 4 types. The first one is metaphorically seeing and hearing, but not using your sense organs. So it'd be hallucinating. But the individuals who experience it say that it is still just as real, feeling, and valid as using their sense organs. The second type is seeing in a kind of almost intellectual way, as a kind of realization. An example of this would be in Buddhism, and one of the factors of enlightenment is being able to see things as they are, so realizing the trueness in things. The third type is the type that Richie talked about in her paper, where you see ordinary things, but you experience them as something extraordinary. So an example of this in the Bible was, and the Torah, is Moses with the burning bush. Anybody could see the burning bush, but only Moses could hear it. And then the fourth type, Mark Webb is kind of weird about. I don't know how I feel about this type, but he calls it ineffable experiences. And he says that they can't be described, but they still feel real. and like an awareness of an external reality. But then he doesn't give any examples. So I feel like that one's a bit of a cop-out. Like if you can't describe it, don't put it in your paper, but whatever. Mark Webb admits that like categorizing them and dividing them like this is pretty arbitrary, and different people do it different ways. Another example of how someone would divide it is William James. He divides religious experiences into, quote, healthy-minded and sick-minded types, depending on the person's personality, which is kind of messed up. And I don't think I agree with that. And then another kind is Keith Yandel, who divides it into 5 categories: monotheistic, nirvanic, Kabbalic, moksha, and nature, depending on the content of the experience and like what kind of religious themes are present in the experience. So if you had a lot of like if you had an experience that was like had a lot of Buddhist themes in it, he would categorize it as nirvanic. So yeah, it's pretty arbitrary, but I thought it was interesting.
I agree with what Richie said about like how science and religion can coexist together and one shouldn't rule out the other one. Like for example, when we're talking about evolution, you can believe in evolution and still believe in God. It doesn't rule out that God doesn't exist. But like a lot of people would like be like, no, that's against what my religion says, so I don't believe in evolution, and that's why it's not really a law right now. It's more like of a theory, I guess. Yeah.
I agree, actually. After like listening to you talk about it, no, yeah, I don't think like one of them rules out the other. I feel like they can like exist together.
Yes, yeah, and I also like agree with what Richie was talking about, like the ultimate reality, like when you're like, let's say like you're praying and stuff, and you feel like, I felt that before when I was like praying or doing religious activities, but I've also been doing that ever since I was young, so I don't know if it's because I grew up on that. And I grew up with people who did that, so in my mind it just made sense to me. But I feel like if it was someone else, they would experience something completely different. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. I went to a Catholic high school growing up, and like my freshman year there was in biology class, I had this girl in my class who was like really upset that we were learning about evolution. She was like, this is a Catholic school, what are we doing? So we had this kind of discussion a lot in our classes.
Yeah, same with my biology teacher. She tried like being careful and like she felt like she was offending someone. But yeah, like especially me because I look very religious, so she thought like, oh, like you're definitely gonna disagree with this, but like, I was like, no, I totally agree. Like, you know, it's odd, but you can like agree with both things. My parents, on the other hand, don't. So yeah.
I feel that.
All right, that's it. Thank you.